So welcome to Including Our Own Header Files. In this video, we'll be explaining why you never use a namespace or use the keyword using namespace in a .header file. We'll actually stop using it altogether. So over here in main, where we used to have using namespace standard, we're going to get rid of that and show you the alternative. We are going to create our first CPP file that actually is associated with the header file. So we'll have a fbcowgame.h, which we've already got, but we'll also have the CPP file with empty methods. And we'll talk about chains of includes a little bit, about hash include and how they work together. So let's get on with it. So here we are back at our merry code, and the first priority is to get rid of this error. The error is caused because it doesn't understand string. So what we need to do is hash include something. Do you know what we need to hash include? Well, I'll forgive you if you said IOStream, but actually in this case we may as well be more specific and hash include string itself, because that's directly what we're trying to do. Now, how do I get string to work once I've done that? I go std : string instead, and all is right with the world again. Let's just compile our code now and run it and make sure that it works. Good. So we're now in a state where it runs, which is where we want to be most of the time. Now, what you do not do is using namespace inside a header file. If you do that and you include that header file somewhere else, you're going to completely lose track of what namespaces you have access to and you have open, and that's a nightmare. In fact, it's such a nightmare that a lot of people advocate not using namespace at all, and I'm going to suggest we stop using it. I used it the first time round to make your syntax look simpler and also to introduce you to it, because you're going to see it on the web, you're going to see it in all sorts of places when you do some searching. But we're going to get rid of it because it's too dangerous. You're going to end up putting it in a header file one day. You're better off just being completely explicit like this. And also, by the way, this is much easier to search for. This is a very specific searchable thing inside your code. So what I want you to do is remove all references to using namespace, which is only in your main CPP file. So go ahead and delete using namespace. When you do that, your code is going to break. Try and do Control F5 now. You're going to get all sorts of errors, starting with this string at the top. So let me show you how to start sorting it out, then I'm going to challenge you to go and finish sorting it out. What you want to do is go to string, go to edit, find and replace, quick replace. So that's one of the easiest ways. Control H, remember that. And then what we're going to do is where we see string, we're going to replace it with std : string. Okay, I'm going to skip over that first one. If you look through, you can use this button I'm clicking on here to go through the searches, right? And then when it gets to the top, it says it's finished starting. I'm not going to show that in future, so I can comfortably click through the whole lot now. So you can see the one that's highlighted in grey there. So I'm currently at this guy, and then I'm going to use this button here to replace, and it's saying it can't find any more occurrences, so you go next. You just have a quick preview of them all, and then you say replace all. Okay? Now, of course, it may have done this one here, which just is the only one that doesn't make sense.
Hi, it's Sam here again, just helping Ben out with a couple of the Mac bits of content. So I just wanted to quickly show you how to do a find and replace in Xcode. So the trick here is Command F, or if you want to actually find the menu, you can go into find and then find. Very helpful. And we want to do find and replace. So actually it's not Command F, it's Command Alt F, like so. So we want to search for string, and we want to replace string with standard string. So it's very straightforward, very much like in Visual Studio. We can just click through to check that everything is the one we want, and we can replace one by one, like so. And we won't replace the top one. So if I save and build, that should all be okay.
All right, so just checking that you haven't got double replacements, because if you replace all, that's basically how you do it. Let me do it slightly more competently the second time. Let's look down our file, look for the red dots over here, see where it first complains again. It complains at cout. I'm going to use Control and H for quick replace. I'm going to replace cout with std : cout, like that. And I'm going to boldly hit replace all. Boom. 8 occurrences replaced. I'm going to have a look through and see if it's caused me any complete nightmares. It hasn't. And there you go. We're just going to finish that off, look for the other things that don't work, replace them, pause the video, do that now. There's no challenge slide up, and I'll come back to you in 2 seconds. Cool. All right, so I'm just going to finish this off with a few more Control H's. End L, replace all, Okay, so now it's found our endls. What else has it got a concern about? It's done a double replace there, or I have, because I've been a fool. What else have we got? Okay, getLine. Let's do these ones manually. Standard getLine. Also cin itself. All right, and here we go. Standard getLine, standard cin. Great. All right, let's recompile our code. Control F5. It all works now. Okay, it came up. I put it away a bit quickly, but it all works. That's great news. Now, a little bit later on, I'm actually going to make a type substitution of this to something else that we're going to see in inside Unreal called fstring or ftext, so that we start to get even more used to Unreal syntax. So actually, the situation will get better again. But for now, let's go from having our eye in to the simple, clean stuff that without, to actually being able to train ourselves to read this as well. I want you to be as talented as possible when it comes to reading C++, so that when you need to go and dive online and say, how do I do this in C++ when you're making your own game, you can read lots of different people's code. That's really important, okay? It's not all sterile code out there. This is actually much more strict, much more correct in many ways. It's just a little bit more noisy, which is absolutely fine. Great. So what we need to do next is we need to actually make ourselves a .cpp file and include this stuff so that we can start implementing some of these things that we have here. These greens are saying it can't find a definition for these things, right? So one simple way to do that, by the way, would be to right-click here and go to Quick Actions. I showed you before how to enable that from the Tools and Options menu if you need to. Create definition of it. And look what happens. It has already made you an fbullcowgame.cpp file. Okay, it's showing you a peek into that file, and then you could open the file here by double-clicking in source. I like to have things ordered like this. Main, because main is, well, it's arguable where you put main. So fbullcowgame.h first for sure, because that then gets pulled in here, which main uses as well. All right, so what we've got now, what it's done for us is this. It's hash included fbullcowgame.h, but in quotes. You see, because I said that if you're looking for something on a standard library, you use chevrons, but if you're looking for something of your own, you go quotes, and it will help us autocomplete. And then it's fleshed out, bullcowgame reset method, and it has no actual implementation right now. But if we go back to the header file, close this little preview window, you can see over here that reset is no longer complaining. So I simply want you to finish writing blank definitions. Write blank definitions for all the methods and ensure there are no warnings left in the .h file. Welcome back. This is a simple job thanks to these tools. In fact, I'm going to use Control and Dot for the quick action, create a definition, and then I'm just going to close it and trust it. I'm going to come down here, Control and Dot, create definition, close it and trust it. Down here, Control Dot, create definition, close it and trust it. Now we can go and look over here. Look, it's done loads of work for us. It's even returned the right things. The only thing it hasn't done is put a return at the end of reset, and I want a return there. I said we should always think about what we're going to be returning, even if it's nothing. All right, so that's that. Now, one question would be, where is... Oh, no, get max tries is okay, sorry. Is game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 methods. How many have we got in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're missing one. Is it the is game 1, get max tries, reset, get max tries, get current try? It's get current try. I don't know, to be honest, why it isn't complaining about get... Yes, I do. Ha, ha, ha. Look, get current try, it's not complaining here because it's not a method. Should have had brackets after it. Okay? So that's the problem. And this, what I've done here is I've defined a variable, and you can't implement a variable. So brackets, easy enough mistake to make. So right here, create definition, and we're good to go. It doesn't matter if the order is the same in here, that's not important, but it has actually put it in order. So great, we've done a load of work there. We now have a file that is effectively, once it's finished doing this hash include, it's very much what we were doing in main. We are defining these methods just like we did here in main, where we put prototypes at the top here. The difference being here we've wrapped it in something called a class and said that these are public. Now, we'll understand a lot more about what that means later, but well done in adding more skeleton to your code, and we're doing really nicely here. So pat yourself on the back, and I'll see you in the next video.